Hello! Today I thought I'd talk to you about gaming, and particularly role-playing games in Dungeons & Dragons. Now, I was first introduced to Dungeons & Dragons by a school friend in about 1978. Dungeons & Dragons, or D&D, is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game, or RPG, originally designed by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson and first published in 1974. Departs from traditional wargaming, which was where it was sort of founded on, and in the game each player is assigned a specific character instead of a military formation as in wargaming, and they embark on imaginary adventures within a fantasy setting, sitting around a table. A dungeon master or DM serves as the game's referee and storyteller while maintaining the setting in which the adventures occur and playing the role as the inhabitants. The characters form a party that interacts with the setting's inhabitants and each other, and together solve dilemmas, engage in battles, defeat evil and gather treasure and knowledge. And in the process they earn experience points awarded by the Dungeon Master, and to become increasingly powerful over a series of sessions by getting more skills, more spells and the like. Now, you may think this is a niche game, but famous players of role-playing games have included George R.R. Martin, who is the author of Game of Thrones, Joss Whedon from the Marvel films, author Stephen King and Steven Spielberg, and also actors Robin Williams, Nathan Fillion from Firefly, Mike Myers from the Austin Powers films, Carl Urban from Judge Dredd and Star Trek, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Vin Diesel, and even Judi Dench, who played with Vin Diesel. They were in a Riddick movie together. If you think that was a one-off, Jonathan Ross says he's also played with Judi Dench and Lenny Henry at the same time. In games of Dungeons & Dragons, each character is assigned a set of statistics, such as strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom and charisma. And they're defined, quite humorously, as followed, explained with tomatoes. Strength is being able to crush a tomato. Dexterity is being able to dodge a tomato thrown at you. Constitution is being able to eat a bad tomato and not get ill. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. And charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad. In many game systems, elves are considered refined, orcs as brutish and unafraid of gore and blood, and dwarves for some reason Scottish. A D&D joke goes as follows: an elf, an orc and a dwarf walk into a bar and each orders a pint of beer. 3 flies that are buzzing around the bar chose to land in each pint of beer. The elf sees the fly in his beer and exclaims, "I cannot drink this filth. Bring me a fresh brew in a new glass." The orc picks the fly out of his beer, tosses it over his shoulder and just carries on drinking. The dwarf picks out the fly, begins squeezing it, yelling, "Spit it out, you git! Spit it out!" How many orcs does it take to write a letter? 3. 1 who can read, 1 who can write, and 1 to watch over those 2 dangerous subversives. Nowadays there are role-playing games on almost any genre. Star Trek, Star Wars, Call of Cthulhu for horror games, there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I run a Serenity role-playing game for friends, which is based on the film of the same name and the Firefly TV series, and have been running that for some years. Gary Gygax, the co-creator of D&D, once said, "I foresee online gaming changing, where there are good audio-visual links connecting the participants, thus approximating play in a face-to-face group. And in fact, I do run a game like that online with friends who are spread all over the country." Sir Arthur Conan Doyle once said, "The best way of successfully acting a part is to be it, and role-playing games give you that opportunity." I'll leave you with this quote from Terry Pratchett, which sort of explains how some things in Dungeons & Dragons go. "He sighed and opened the black box and took out his rings and slipped them on. Another box held a set of knives and Clatchian steel, their blades darkened with lamp black. Various cunning and intricate devices were taken from velvet bags and dropped into pockets. A couple of long-bladed throwing klinglers were slipped into their sheaths inside his boots. A thin silk line and folding grapnel were wound around his waist, over the chainmail shirt. A blowpipe was attached to its leather thong and dropped down the back of his cloak. Tepic picked a slim tin container with an assortment of darts, their tips corked and their stems braille-coded for ease of selection in the dark. He winced, checked the blade of his rapier and slung the baldric over his right shoulder to balance the bag of lead slingshot ammunition. As an afterthought, he opened his sock drawer and took a pistol crossbow, a flask of oil, a roll of lockpicks, and after some consideration, a punch dagger, a bag of assorted caltrops, and a set of brass knuckles. Tepic picked up his hat and checked its lining for the coil of cheese wire. He placed it on his head at a jaunty angle, took a last satisfied look at himself in the mirror, turned on his heel, and very slowly fell over. That's all for this week. Goodbye.